All right, y'all. So let's talk about this. So Keyshawn Davis has basically went quiet. He did. I didn't see the interview. I read an article about him explaining why he turned down the fight with Devin Haney, and really, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. We know why he say he turned the fight down. I don't believe that Keyshawn ever wanted that fight, and I don't believe Shakur ever wanted the fight either. As I said before, first off, this is why I said, with so many other things, if you look at boxing as it is right now, I told you boxing as we know it this is what you're going to see a lot more of. You've been with me for a long time, you know. I've told you guys, this is what you're going to get. The fighters that you sit there and rah-rah for, they're going to become cowards. They're all hungry until they get to that position that they think, okay, now I can act like a diva. And then they stop. Once they get that one signature fight, they get that certain dollar amount. All of a sudden, remember that talk that Teofimo had when he said after he beat Kambosos and not Kambosos, Lomachenko, and then he said, I'm gonna lead this. He said, I'm gonna lead this era into the future of everybody's gonna fight the top fighters. I'm gonna make sure, right? Me said, I'm gonna usher that in. I'm gonna make sure we all fight each other. And then just like that, it's like it settled in. He walked in front of a mirror in his house with the belt on his shoulder and was like, damn, I'm the man. I'm Ric Flair out this motherfucker. Right? And next thing you know, Teofimo Lopez is sitting here doing interviews telling us he has no interest in fighting Tank Davis or Ryan Garcia, or Devin Haney. These guys need to fight each other to prove they need to get a shot at him. And his fans, yeah, man, he's right, man, he's right. Like, wow. And this is where the fans come in. I'm not a fan of anybody. I'm an observer. This is where these fans come in, taking sides and making excuses for your hero. That's nothing but a zero, because all your heroes end up doing the same thing. I told you, once they get to that position, their heads get big and it's like, damn, I don't have to fight. Let's just be real. Shakur, we know more about him blocking Showbiz, Showbiz, the adult from his social media. We know about him calling Champ side. I think that's the dude name or something, pretending to be just a caller. But everything, all these crazy little silly tactics. All these so-called fighters want to fight on Twitter. They want to fight with their mouth. They want to fight on interviews. Let's just be real. And this is a very key moment right here. Okay, it's a key thing right here. Tank was acting like a hoe. He didn't want to fight Shakur. He didn't want to fight Devin. He took Lamont Roach, not because he thought Lamont Roach was deadly, not because he thought Lamont Roach was going to give him the fight that he gave him. He slept on Lamont Roach just like everybody else. People were saying pretty much Lamont Roach is going bye-bye. They did not see Lamont Roach having a chance against Tank. And basically, that was a cherry pick that went wrong. And pretty much that helped shake Tank up. Because remember, they supposed to fight. And all of a sudden, Tank pulls out the fight. And while all this is going on, Keyshawn Davis is holding his own. And pretty much, Keyshawn Davis was looking like that next guy that was ready to step in and do what Tank wouldn't do. Now, when he starts calling Tank out, I told you, I feel 1,000% unshakable that this dude knew, doesn't matter what he say, he's not going to get that fight with Tank. No different from Jerron Boots Ennis could have talked about Terrence Crawford's mother. They'd have had a street fight before they had a fight in the ring. And he knew, nah, it's just not going to happen. Just like Benavidez is not going to get that shot at Canelo. He knew Tank ain't going to fight him. So I'm going to take advantage of all of this, and I'm going to run my mouth, and I'm going to get the people. See, every time somebody is the underdog, somebody seem like they got the heart that the ones that's up on the pedestals don't have anymore, they become the people's champ. And then they let the people down. The problem is, more than half of the people They're idiots because they support this nonsense. So what was all of that? I'm hungry. I put 10,000 people in this building. Debo! Debo! Not jumping out, walking up. What was all of that? It was just what I told you. Remember when we first seen it? I said, yeah, I saw that crap. I understand that this generation is extremely immature. Extremely immature. And this is why a lot of times people can't see what's right in front of them. All of the stuff that we talk about, you see the things I say coming to fruition because it's just, I'm just paying attention. No different from looking across the street, looking left, looking right, making sure no cars are coming before you cross. It's simple. I'm just looking, I'm observing, and I see the nonsense. I can smell the BS from far away. And neither one of them wanted to fight against Devin. And so this is like, for me, people asking me dumbass questions about what's next for Devin. Man, I don't know. Well, how come Devin won't fight Gerard Ennis? You gotta ask Devin that question. How the hell do I know? There is no talks about nothing. First off, there's no need to talk about anybody when there's no contract signed, there's no term sheet sent out, there's no negotiations whatsoever. What's the purpose? This is what this generation has become, a bunch of clout chasers. People call it out on fighters that they don't care for, but they make excuses for the fighters that they do care for. And it doesn't matter what you say. A coward is a coward. It's as simple as that. So you can say, but what about when this guy was supposed to? No. First of all, let me tell you something. Having a conversation doesn't mean a fight's going to happen. Just like Andre Ward repeatedly have said he wanted to fight Anthony Joshua and said the only guy that can bring him out of retirement is Anthony Joshua. And then all of a sudden, now let's not forget, he was made an offer by Anthony Joshua and Eddie Hearn. And remember, they told him, don't overprice yourself. Here's a guy who hasn't fought in years because he's Andre Ward. He's supposed to walk back and bow, all of a sudden pay me. No. And guess what? Nothing ever happened. So that offer was never accepted. And I'm like, why keep saying that? Like, what's the purpose of keep saying? It gets attention when you talk. Andre Ward had no intentions on coming out of retirement. None whatsoever. So for all that talking, understand something, okay? A 75-year-old trainer can spot something wrong, holes in somebody's game, and can teach you that, can tell you that. Does that mean they can go in there and do it? So the same way Andre Ward can sit here and tell you the mistakes that Anthony Joshua make, that does not mean he can go in there and beat Anthony Joshua. If he had any motivation to come out of retirement, now would be the time. Okay? Because AJ clearly don't look like himself. You understand what I'm saying? So he never had no intentions on fighting Anthony Joshua, man. I think he just had thoughts in his head about AJ that he said out loud and pretty much to get attention. And let's not forget, he started bringing it up more and more. Then all of a sudden he launches a podcast. So I'm like, yeah, I see what's happening. These guys are no different. But it's worse because they're actually still active fighters. Now, while you're asking about Devin Haney, Keyshawn and Shakur is busy jumping on videos, arguing with people, trying to defend, worthless points, and then all of a sudden, right? Well, I just seen a video of Bill Haney, and he was on the phone, and Bill Haney said that pretty much Devin Haney wants to become undisputed at 147. And he's hoping that Boots do the same thing at 154 because he wants to go up and he doesn't want to tune up. When he go up, he wants to fight Boots. Now, that's the plan, right? Now, either one of them can lose. Maybe the shots don't come like they're supposed to. Who knows? Boxing is full of politics and no structure, right? So maybe the fight happens, maybe it doesn't. Don't know. But that's his plans. So, according to Keyshawn and Shakur, Boots supposed to just drop everything. Devin's supposed to just drop everything. forget what their plans are, and we got to fight each other to shut Shakur's mouth. No. Devin wants to fight Shakur. See, Shakur can talk all that trash. I never seen Shakur as better than Devin Haney. I never saw him as better. Devin is every bit as good as Shakur. I believe he's tougher than Shakur. I believe that when it comes to a dog fight, I believe Devin will push. Whereas Shakur, he starts getting hit, he starts getting hurt, he's going to retreat, he's going to cover up, he's going to run. He's not going to get to a firefight. And Devin is someone that can match hand speed with him. And Devin, don't get it twisted. Devin is stronger. He hits harder than Shakur. And you want to know what I believe really shook Shakur and shook Keyshawn even more? And I don't believe either one of them ever wanted that fight. When he went up and fought Brian Norman, all of these people was like, yo, just think of how many people said Brian Norman too strong. And Devin has nothing to keep him off. And all these things they said. Now, just think of all the people. So, the few people that said they think Devin going to win with his experience or he's going to have to stick and move. And what y'all was saying he was going to run like he did in his first fight back since the bull crap with Ryan Garcia, right? And he went in there and he went in there and just took it to Brian Norman and beat the dude up at a heavier weight. Why do you think Shakur all of a sudden now weight is a problem? This is the same guy that said, I'm so good at this shit, I could do it at 135, 140, and 147. Oh, and by the way, I'll fight Conor Ben at 154 for no title. But he won't fight Devin at 147. Devin has to have a catch weight. Why? And y'all don't see that? So yeah, it's just a bunch of talk. And, there's nothing developed since this. Just the fact of Bill speaking about what Devin's plans are. One thing I'm going to tell you this for sure. Devin is not sitting up on social media making a bunch of stupid videos. Devin, every time I see Devin, 90-something% of the times he's training. He's somewhere training, he's in the gym. When he's not in the gym, it's like, only thing I see Devin do from time to time is he'll address some BS that comes out of the mouth of Keyshawn or Shakur. But he's not jumping up there just making videos to say anything about either one of them. These two are playing these games. And they're trying to keep themselves relevant and trying to stay more relevant with this whole, let me just, make these little stupid skits, jumping up them, calling Debo, looking around, actors. And y'all thought that was so cute, didn't y'all? Oh, yeah, that nigga funny as hell, y'all. That nigga was like Debo. We heard him. This shit was stupid. And reality check. If this motherfucker really wanted to fight, and after all of the, when he first started to, get some, get his feet planted, we was all riding with Keyshawn, and we was basically saying, look, man, the dude is out here, he's fighting, he's winning. Everybody was talking shit, oh, man, this move, he ain't ready. Oh, man, you better sit the fuck down, Tank can do this, Tank can do that. Oh, he ain't ready. And basically, he outshined Shakur. I forgot who the dude was that, Shakur fought, and he claimed that first he was talking about the dude is good and all that. People just don't know. Then he talked about he hurt his hand in the fight and all that. He got bad hands or whatever. And Keyshawn was looking, looked more solid than Shakur did in his performance. And I said, now, I'm not saying that he beats Shakur if they fought. I'm not saying he doesn't beat him. What I am saying is his performance was better against his opponent than what Shakur's was. Now, you think about it. From that time on, no matter what was said, no matter what was going on with other weight classes and people, all this, everybody got to do this so-called fantasy fights because you can't get the fights that you want to see. No matter who they were bringing up, Tank was the guy, and no matter what was going on, you couldn't talk about the 135 division without bringing Tank up. And Tank basically didn't want no smoke. He just kept, why we talking about Shakur? He ain't did nothing. He couldn't knock nobody out at 130. He had 135. I mean, he made every excuse to not fight against Shakur or Keyshawn. But I don't think either one of them really wanted to fight. I think they both would have found a way to push out. I believe strongly, like I said before. So now, when you look now, at the behavior of Keyshawn. He turned to a little goofball. I mean, Andy Cruz beat him 4 times in the amateurs. He was at Andy Cruz' fight. When Andy Cruz lost, he was celebrating. Who celebrates? If he wanted that fight to get he wanted his get back. It's like, you know how many times we've seen 2 fighters fight in the amateurs. One fighter beats the other in the amateurs, and then all of a sudden the pros, they can't even compete. Now, not saying that would have been the case, not saying it wouldn't, but this is what happens often. He didn't even want his get back. He was okay with losing 4 times to the same guy. You know why he was celebrating? Yeah, now everybody shut up and stop bringing his name up. I'm sick of people talking about I need to fight this dude. And y'all know that this was going on. So now all of a sudden, everybody's a hater. See, as long as you rah-rah Keyshawn, rah-rah, Shakur, y'all, stroke my ego. But the second you start saying, hold up, that was a bad play you just made. All y'all niggas haters, man. Y'all haters. That's what they do. So everybody's a hater for being honest. They're kids, man. They're not even grown-ass men. They're little kids. They're still kids. They talk like kids. They dress like kids. They act like kids. This is not grown man behavior. Yo, why everybody? How come you ain't asking nobody else to go up 3-weight division? How come that? Wow, man. That's like when you were a kid or something, and a boy asked a girl, "Do you like me?" And she said, "If you like me." What does my answer have to do with yours? I'm asking you a question, right? That's childish stuff kids do. That's exactly the level that this is on. So every time I hear any of this nonsense going on, I just feel like, at some point, the message has to go through these fighters through their numbers going down. No more sold out crowds, pay-per-view, buy rates, all that, streams, whatever, low. Because they're out here going, this is that era. I'm at the point I could do whatever I want. And every time any of you lame say it, and that's including the fighters, they really love that. They really love that because they don't intend on fighting everybody. We could sit here and look at when Mike Tyson got beat by Buster Douglas, man. You could immediately see the disappointment on Holyfield's face. But now it's like, all right, you know what? I wanted Mike, and me versus Mike would have been, that's the showdown I wanted. But he lost, so now I gotta get ready for Buster. It's like the same thing. Mike Tyson fans will make up excuses. You know what's funny? They'll say how he went to jail for 4 years. And before he went to jail, y'all was making excuses. Man, if he still had Customato, Richard Giacchetti and the other dude he had, it ain't as good as with Customato. But then he went to jail for 4 years. Right, so Muhammad Ali was exiled for fucking 3.5 years. So when Ali lost to a Mike Tyson fan, Ali just lost. It wasn't because nothing else. He just lost. But every time Mike Tyson loses, it's because something was wrong. Oh, man, he was out there, Bobby Brown, screwing Japanese women. That's his fucking problem. What they got to do with Buster? Discipline is a part of all of it. It's not just throwing punches and dancing around the ring. Everything, the discipline, what you eat, the amount of rest you get, all of that. All of that. All of that. And that's qualities that people overlook. This is exactly why you think a certain guy can't beat another guy till they fight. And you like, I don't get it. And you see the patience, you see the poise, and you like, yo, how is he? Yeah. It looks impressive when you see these guys fight other people. And then you think, all he got to do if you fight him is do this. And then that real boxing, that true boxing master with those real skills nullify all of that stuff. And I'm telling you, I can tell you right now, I don't think Shakur got that dog in him. I don't think Keyshawn, I don't think he got that dog in him either, without putting himself in harm's way to get hit. I don't think either one of them really want that smoke, man. Boxing is a grueling sport. You put a lot of toll on your body. And at some point, no matter what age, how soon you get it, some people can hold out longer than others with this, but at some point, people start, they might not sit down and say it. They might not sit down and say it to the audience. Whatever. They might not get in front of a camera and say it, But it's the type of thing where they start thinking like, man, do I really want to keep doing this? Do I really want to keep doing this? Like, damn, like, how much longer can I do this? You know what I'm saying? They start thinking like that. And then it's like, damn, they start thinking about that bag. Start thinking about that bag that they didn't get yet. They start thinking about all of that. And they start looking for shortcuts. That ain't no different from nobody at any other job. You know what the rules are. You know what the expectations are. But you're looking for shortcuts. How many of you have worked somewhere and you were talking, you was the new guy or the new female, and then you're talking to your coworkers about how to do certain things. Oh man, you know what? I do that shit like this. And I'm like, all right, I got you. Check this out. I want to know the right way. I know what it says here, but how do you do it here? Like, how do we do this? I want to do it the way it's supposed to be done. Because I don't want nobody to come to me saying, oh, like, why are you doing it that way? Because I'm only doing it the way I'm being taught. So that's what I want to know. Not the way what you do, the right way. Because they ready to give you shortcuts. Huh? They ready to give you shortcuts. Ain't no different. Whatever it may be. Whatever the situation may be, it's the same thing. It's a job. And I feel like a lot of people forget when they talk about these fighters that it's a job. And yes, these motherfuckers be looking for shortcuts. And for them, it's easy fights. The whole landscape of boxing has changed, man. That excitement is not there. That electricity is not in the air anymore. You know what I'm saying? It's a dead game. You just have a few familiar faces still around, and when they're gone, it's going to be a whole new generation of shaggy pants wearing, fucking tight pants wearing with the fucking belt around the fucking, you're going to be, coming to the damn ring with the damn fucking trunk sagging and shit and all that, coming out with these damn jailbird ass rappers. I'm just being real with you, man. This is where we are right now. Everybody's so focused on being an entertainer instead of being a fighter. And they're way too comfortable, too arrogant, and too cocky. And they don't have the resume to match their arrogance. So these folks never wanted that fight. Don't be fooled by the nonsense. Anyway, this is what you do. Matter of fact, before I close, man, I was watching. I remember I watched this Michael Nunn interview. And Michael Nunn, you know, it's funny because I remember the conversations when I was a kid. I remember the conversations. And Michael Nunn wanted to fight Sugar Ray, Hearns, and Duran. He had a lot of respect, a personal relationship with Marvin Hagler, so he didn't have eyes on Hagler. But Michael Nunn, James Toney, Julian Jackson, Terry Norris, like that group of people coming in, I'm gonna tell you right now, it's something a lot of people don't remember. But Ray Leonard was supposed to fight Michael Nunn. That's the fight they were supposed to have. And Ray Leonard was sitting ringside when Michael Nunn went in and destroyed Frank Tate. Ray Leonard all of a sudden opted out, and he went and fought Roberto Duran in a third fight. Now, was it way more money involved against Duran? Obviously. You know what I mean? But Duran was 38 at the time and was washed up. And Ray Leonard and Duran both got booed at the end of that fight. They both got booed. Duran had nothing, and Ray just, the shit went the distance. And I don't think it was just a more money fight, but more of a money, yeah. Of course, I know what that was. I keep telling you, when these dudes get to a certain age, a certain stature, they don't want to fight these younger dudes no more. And Michael Nunn, none of them fought them. That's why I said Marvin was still there. Leonard was still there. Had all of them. Hearns went up, cruiserweight and all that. Light heavy, then cruiserweight. All of them. And it's like Hagler didn't fight again after he lost to Leonard. But if you look at it, right, the whole thing was that group, the gold of the golden era. They could have fought James Toney. They could have fought Michael Nunn. Ray Leonard went and fought Terry Norris. And this is what I'm telling you. They did not think Terry was going to be able to handle Ray's experience. It's not until Ray got his ass whooped that they started talking about, oh, he was old and all these excuses. Everybody's about excuses. Instead of just saying the better man won. Simple. That's all. The better man won. Even if you want to say the better man won on that night. However, that's all. I don't want to hear nothing about no old or no screwing Japanese women and all this. I don't care about any of that. That's every time. Anybody that you don't care about, when they lose, like I said, they just lose. That's it. But the fighters, you like, oh, something happened. Oh, now I got to come up with an excuse. And it's foolish. So that era could have, and they didn't. You know, Gerald McClellans, Mike McCallum, all of them, they was there. Then Roy Jones came in. So they all was still there. They was all still there. And they didn't fight any of those guys. Now, Duran being older, but he's still fighting, because remember something too. Duran fought Iran Barkley. He beat Iran Barkley. You know what I'm saying? And it's one of these things where Ray Leonard, he retired after the Terry Norris fight. He was 34. Came back at 40 to fight Camacho. You know, like I said, Hagler, he left after the Leonard fight. He never announced his retirement right away because he was hoping that they get their rematch, but that never happened. And then he just, you know, he left. He just walked away. Like I said, Leonard Hearns went up. So fighting guys like James the Heat Kenshin and all those guys, yeah, those were good fighters, and you know, so he was just in a different weight class at that point. But what I'm saying is that was a whole lot of guys that fights didn't happen. Nigel Benn, you know, he was there. Remember, Nigel Benn, I remember him sparring with Roberto Duran. You know, Chris Eubanks, Senior, Steve Collins, Joe Kawasaki, that whole group of people, was a lot of people. And they didn't get a chance to fight against the Leonards. Donnie Lalonde got a shot. You understand what I'm saying? But and Terry Norris, he comes from that group as well. But you know, he's at 154, and he got his shot with Leonard. No, he didn't want Leonard. Leonard wanted him. You know, he was Leonard. He was Terry Norris's idol. And you see how that fight went. So, case in point, what makes that different is all of these motherfuckers are all right here and now, and at the same time. There's no big age gap or this from a different era. These are fighters from the same era. So case in point is like these guys are like, all right, you know, well, Leonard did have that one fight, but it wasn't with none. It was against Terry Norris. And Terry whooped on his ass, and that was that. And when you look at it, right, it makes more sense to me. Just like Lennox Lewis retiring after he fought, you know, Vitaly Klitschko, because once you get to the point, man, where somebody whoop your ass and you don't want revenge, or you have a fight, even if you win, but it was one of them fights where, like, damn, people want to see that one again because it was that action-packed. Now, with Lewis, a lot of people wanted to see him lose. A lot of people just didn't like Lennox Lewis. Whatever. But Lennox Lewis, you know, he fought. They both was beating the shit out of each other. But Vitaly was, you know, and I think a lot of the hype, too, is because he rocked Lewis several times. Like, Vitaly was doing his thing in that fight. So, bottom line, it was way more competitive than people thought it was going to be. And I always said, man, the Klitschko brothers could fight. When Emmanuel Stewart started training them, they both got better. You know, Vladimir was just a banger. He was like literally like Ivan Drago, you know, in his young, you know, before Emmanuel Stewart came along. So this is why Layman Brewster and you know, what's his name, starched his ass, Corey Sanders. You know, but after that it was like, all right, Emmanuel came along and let him know, look, man, you this tall. You shouldn't be fighting like you this tall. Start learning how to use that jab. He had Lennox Lewis working behind the jab, and he knew how to. Guys that can box, whether you were a pure boxer or a boxer puncher, Emmanuel Stewart knew how to work with you, especially tall guys. So you saw, you know, a situation where he said, nah, I'm done. You know, he didn't want to go through that again. You heard Katie Taylor and Amanda Serrano say they didn't want to have to go through that same shit they went through in the first two fights against each other. In the third fight, both of them decided to box instead of like trying to go to war with each other. You know, and this is what I'm telling you. This is what I'm saying. They admitted it. Like, man, we didn't want to go through that again. And I'm telling you, fighters have fear of it. They don't want to say it, but they like, man, what if, especially when they see people lose. they'll sit there and act all cocky, or they'll type in some shit, ha ha, that would have been me, I'd have did this, or you got knocked out or whatever, you know. But what happens if it is them? They start thinking about it. It's just like when people in your family die, people that you know die, you know, in your neighborhood, but then all of a sudden people in your age group start dying, then you like, damn, now you start thinking about death a lot more. Like, damn, man, it should happen to anybody. You know, ain't no rule, no law that says we gonna live to be old people. So, yeah, they have these fears. But at the end of the day, there's no material. You know, for anybody talking about Boots versus Devin, that's like, you know what I mean? It's Haney is following his goals. If he can secure Undisputed at 147, if Boots can do the same thing at 154, and then Haney decide to go up to 154, okay, then you got your fight. But until there's actual negotiations between the two, it's just stupid to bring up a conversation. Here's a man that want title fights versus two guys that just want to run their mouth and pretend they want fights and trying to get popular off of social media. You see the Ryan Garcia route, the Raleigh Romero route, all you got to do is you know, if you got a lot of subscribers and views and likes and stuff on social media, it ain't about who got the belt. Nobody care about belts anymore. Remember all the stuff they were saying? All of them were saying that. So now for you to have Teofimo versus Raleigh and all that, he's looking at, okay, I beat Ryan. If I beat Teofimo, now I'm going to have them two on my name. That's going to boost me over both of them. I'm already above Ryan. So, you know, it's like in the meantime, what is Shakur doing? What is Devin doing? What is Shakur going to do? He going to stay high off of that Teofimo win for the next 5 years or something? Like, what is he doing? And the crazy thing about Keyshawn is Keyshawn could have had his own story with Andy Cruz. You know, I finally got my get back at this guy in the pros, where it matters more. Boom, got him. Right? Now, that's a story in itself. I avenged that loss. You know, I mean, you still down for your losses, but you understand what I'm saying? In the pros now, more money. You got more money on the table. You got titles on the table. Let's go. Whatever. But bottom line, he don't want that get back. And y'all can sit there and make all the noise y'all want for him and make excuses, but jumping out of trucks, hollering Debo, and then turning fights down make you like a straight up bitch. So what is he supposed to do? What is he supposed to do? Because I get the feeling that Keyshawn and Shakur gonna end up fighting some average ass fighter in their next fight. They're gonna call it a stay busy fight. Where's the, you know, enthusiasm? Where's the, you know, hey, I'm looking to fight this guy. No, they ain't calling nobody's name. Here's a guy that was actually supposed to fight against, he claimed he wanted to fight against Devin Haney, both of them. Remember, I told you, Shakur show up at some party or something, they had holding the sign up, whatever, trying to make some little derogatory remark towards Haney, right? And then you got this one hopping out hollering Debo. They don't want no smoke with Thanos, man. And here's the deal. Regardless to what they say, and regardless to you know what people want to believe, them motherfuckers shot themselves in the foot. Their idiotic fans are going to be the idiotic fans. But case in point, what's going to happen is really simple. The people that's watching these fights, that really just want to see the best fight the best, they already done lost interest in these dudes, man. And they sitting up here insulting the fucking paying customers and getting attitudes because people don't like the shit. So it is what it is. Anyway, I'm tired of talking about both of them. That's all I got for you guys right now. Catch you guys on the next video.